How's it going, guys and goddesses? This is Diakara. Yeah, it's official. Trump is off the reservation. All you MAGA Nagas out there, get your sorcery up. Trump has been body snatched. I don't know if they got him with the spirit cooking. I don't know if they killed him, replaced him with a clone housed with a reptilian demon. I don't know exactly what they did, but one thing's for sure, the Trump that we body snatched, it's no more. He's off the reservation, man. So this new Trump is shape-shifting into a demon, shape-shifting in one of those little reptile demonoids, whatever the hell you want to call them. But he's been compromised, and we have to get our sorcery up, brothers and sisters. All you MAGA Nagas out there, you got to get your sorcery up. So we're gonna break down Trump shape-shifting, and they're covering it up, saying his hand is bruised, his ankles are swollen up. No, this motherfucker's shape-shifting, and he's not the Trump that we body snatched. So we're gonna have to get some major exorcism rituals going down, and we're gonna have to get this thing blown up before they come in with their Agenda 2030 AI takeover of Earth, where they want to implant everybody, force you to take COVID shots, which is going to transform your RNA code and literally put a demon on your ass. So we're gonna break this down. We're gonna break this down, get the evidence together. Okay, this is Zulu Shaman Credo Mutwa. He's gonna break down these reptilians. Credo Mutwa said he was abducted and had implants drilled up into his nostrils, implanted into his brain by these reptilians who have abducted him, and they took his sperm and had him breed with hybrid humans. But we're gonna get into this. Hold on.
You're saying exactly the same as I've come across. It's incredible confirmation that a reptilian race from another world has been behind the manipulation of humanity for a very, very long time. Now, what do these Chitahuli actually look like, the reptiles?
I'm not a good artist, sir.
You're better than me, that's for sure.
But this is how we believe the Chitahuli look like. They were created in this. You see, sir, you white people say that there are alien beings on this earth. No, you are wrong. The earth in which we live has produced 24 different races during its long existence. Please, sir, this is how a Chitahuli looks like. It stands about 11 feet high. It is a very slender being which seems not to have a bone structure. Its fingers have no joints. They are more as if the bones in here were flexible. Some of the Chitahuri have got 3 claws with a thumb. Some have got 6 claws with a thumb. And some of the Chitahuris have got horns on their heads. And what surprises me is this. Some film producers, like the producers who make the film Star Wars, often show creatures in their films which actually exist,
So there's the description by Credo Mutwa. And see, your boy Trump has been body snatched by these reptilians, and He's actually he's actually shape-shifting into a damn reptilian. It tells you right here, Trump comes clean after questions raised about his swollen ankles and bruised hand. And we're gonna get into that hand of his. No, we don't want to see her. Let's get her right out there. Right there. Now look at that hand. Look at that. See? He's morphing into a reptilian. He's starting to shapeshift. And that's his hand right there that they claim is bruised. There's no bruise on his hand. This motherfucker is shapeshifting. And to get him right, they probably had to torture some child, drain that child of his blood, and this version of Trump right here had to drink the blood in order to keep him shapeshifting. But yeah, he's got his swollen ankles. Let's kind of get in that. Let's get into that hand first. Look at that. Look at that hand, man. See, he's morphing into a reptilian, man. Now you see his feet. His feet are getting real swollen. And see, that's usually a sign that you're being invaded by a demon, because this is exactly what happened to me when I was being spirit invaded. My feet swelled up. You know, they start my feet swelled up all the way up to the bottom of my kneecap. My whole calf, ankles, everything was swollen. So I knew a demon was trying to possess me, and it was trying to get past my kneecap up into my genital area to where it can fully possess me. I had to keep that demon beneath the kneecap, and I was using activated charcoal, vinegar. I was using all kinds of stuff to keep the swelling down. But yeah, that damn thing was trying to take me over. And this crap that they talk about Trump is suffering from swollen feet. Now, what's happening is he's being demon possessed, because this is exactly how demons get you. They come up through your feet, and then they try to get you. They try to get to your lower chakra, which is your genital area. And once they can control that, they can basically control you. So I was able to manage to keep that demon off of me, man. Okay, this is me being spirit possessed by a demon. You know, I document this shit, but this is my behavior, and this is how you start to behave when, you know, you're being taken over. And in this video, you want to see my feet swelling up. So that demon was coming up through my feet, trying to take me over, man. But you know, I fought it off, man. But here we go.
Living comfortable, man. Okay? Nah, nigga. You gotta make my daughter got needs, man. She gotta look beautiful. She gotta be happy. I want my little girl happy, smiling. You know, being a good mom, you know, to my grandchildren and shit like that.
See, I'm acting real erratic, acting crazy. See, this is a demon trying to take me over. Fortunately, I was aware of what was going on. Even though the energy was taking me over and I couldn't control the energy, that demon's energy was taking me over, I was trying to control it, but I couldn't.
Nigga, you know what I'm saying? That's your role, nigga. Okay? You supposed to be an inventor, man. You supposed to be a scientist. You ain't, you know, you leave the doctor shit to the women. You know, we just supposed to come up with the remedies, and, you know, here you go, sister, man. You know, this is what we come up with, man. Can you kind of, like, you know, test it out? And she gonna decide, she let her run the hospitals and shit like that, man. Okay, we all out of cosmic balance, bro. Alright? We the inventors, man. We the doctors, okay? Of the world. Our job is to clean, keep people healthy, clean up the sick.
See right there, you can see the demon trying to take over. See, I allowed that damn thing in, man. Trying to get information on how to build a free energy device. And warding that motherfucker off was a pain in the ass, but here we go.
You know, keep everybody healthy, man. Us and Native American Indians, that's our role, man. See, I'm a nigga, you know what I'm saying? Crossbone. You know, I'm also a Native American Indian, if you can't tell that shit already. I got a lot of Native American Indian in me, man. And, you know, some white. Okay? It's cool. Not a problem. I'm a crossbone, it's cool. You know, I got a balanced line between being a Democrat and Republican, of course. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm both Democrat. I'm not really Democrat and Republican, but I'm also both Democrat and Republican, man. Excuse me, man. This Kundalini got me hyped up, man. I gotta use this fucking new shit, man. Come with these new cures, man. This new tincture, man. I got activated charcoal, and milk thistle, and vinegar, and all kinds of shit, man. You know, my feet getting a whole lot better, man. Here you go, man. I'm able to get these feet moving, get my joints going. See all that shit? That's because I opened up my Kundalini. See, now that shit's up in my legs. I had to suck that up from. So I sucked all that shit up from the Earth Mother. That's how foul the Earth Mother is. I gotta come up with tinctures for that shit. Got this activated charcoal. I got basil. I got oregano. I got cayenne pepper, ginger mixed in with vinegars and shit. You know. I'm not eating this Papa John's. Can't do it. Okay. I mean, only bad thing on there is the bread and the cheese. But you know, I have to throw this on the pieces. Activated charcoal, man. Because it's really. The reason I'm doing it, man, it's really hard to drink that vinegar, man. It's tough. You gotta put it on a pizza or something. You know, saturate it. You know what I'm saying? Put that vinegar on the pizza, man. Then you get more vinegar. It's like, kill this shit. You know? Yeah, my Makarah, man. My feet's almost healed up, man. So, you know, it's a painful process, man. This demon's an asshole, man. Suck that shit up in my leg, man. Doing this Kundalini shit. You know what I'm saying? You know, I pulled it up. I gotta push it out now. You know what I'm saying? My toes is twinkling now. That's because I'm sitting right here on this cardboard box, man. You know, I got my little wood wheel. Hold on, I got my little wood wheel right there. If you can't see, got the cardboard box. I'm gonna take these tinctures right here. So I gotta put on these towels. So I'm showing you science of alchemy, man. Put on these towels. Saturate the box. See, got the mushroom guy right there, man, fucking up. Okay, man, get your ass back in the bottle, nigga. Yeah, you ain't supposed to be out the bottle. Get your little mushroom ass up in there, man. Alright. Got the mushroom guys, man. Them niggas don't like staying in bottles. And they supposed to be in there fucking doing their job. But yeah, but you're supposed to do that activated charcoal. And you're supposed to get your online tone generator. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm telling you all the methods I was using to get that demon off of me. But as you can see, my feet was getting swelled up. That's because that thing was invading me through my feet. And my behavior was super erratic. I mean, the energy of that demon was making you super erratic. And man, this was like one of the most craziest experiences I ever had in my life, man. But yeah, man, I did all that to get information on the free energy device, and that damn thing didn't want to leave, so I had to force it out. And this was some of the tinctures and things that I had put together to exorcise demons, you know, off of me, man. So, you know, what you see me going through is exactly what Trump is going through. So that's why his hands is turning the way it's turning, his feet, ankles, and everything's all swollen up because he's being possessed by a damn demon. That's exactly what that is. All right, so we're going to continue. So when the media tries to gaslight you and said, oh, Trump's just going through some health issues. Nah, this motherfucker is shape-shifting, swollen ankles, you know, right there, you can see the reptilian coming up out of this dude, man. So they're gaslighting you, man. This dude's possessed with a demon. He's been hijacked, man. So, you know, I know all this shit. I experienced it, been through it, been there, done that. You know, this dude needs an exorcism. He needs an exorcist real quick. Fortunately for me, you know, studying all the alchemy I've been studying for all the years, you know, I knew basically how to ward the demon off. You know, I knew some of the methods on how to get it off of myself. Because if I didn't succeed in warding that demon out of me, man, that thing would have took me over, and I'll probably be 6 feet under right about now. So you know that thing would take you over, man. And you know, reptilians are not the only demonic entities out here, man. You know, you got the jellyfish, you got all kinds of unseen entities, man, that you can allow into you, and they'll come and invade you, you know. So, you know, I had drew that up from the earth when I was outside moon gazing. So, you know, like I was doing a lot of the Tao Secrets of Love, creating a vortex portal through my feet, you know, drilling it into the earth, and then I had caught something that went up the vortex that I had drilled into the earth. I was doing, right foot was clockwise, left foot was counterclockwise. And I was taking my chi energy and vortexing it. And I had created like a gateway through my feet. And whatever came up through my feet tried to invade me. It came up into my feet and got up to the kneecap. I woke up the next morning, my feet were swollen up. And my energy was just real crazy. And I knew right then and there I was possessed, so I had to go, put together some tinctures and some remedies to ward this demon up off of me. And I went outside barefoot. I was hitting the sun real hard. So, I'm just giving you some clues on how, if you ever get taken over or ever get possessed, I'm giving you clues. I'm gonna make videos in the future going more in depth, more in detail on how to evict spirits and do exorcisms. So that's my experience. Documented. You can see it right there. We shall continue. So we got Trump up here shape-shifting, covering up the Jeffrey Epstein files. And the question is, what's the big deal? Why isn't he releasing these files? Well, like I said, man, that Epstein, you got a lot of witnesses here, a lot of Epstein victims coming out, speaking out. And I find it amazing that this person right here only got like 5.8 thousand views. They're doing a whole lot of gaslighting on this information here, man. But this came out over a month ago. So we're going to get into this Epstein survivor.
It's like, am I going mad, or is this a threat? Especially with her being taken from her family and everything. Yeah, no, these people are sneakier than what we can imagine. Also, don't forget that there is such a thing as dark magic, black magic,
She's going to get into black magic, and the people that she's saying are sneaky are these intelligence agencies like the Mossad, FBI, CIA, all these intelligence agencies around the world. They're all tied in with this reptilian globalist network, setting up, world government run by artificial intelligence. This is all this reptilian network, man. She's going to break it down and how they're heavily into dark magic.
What if they can actually curse someone to make them we've got to be very strong mentally. We've got to keep calling for angels, and just to keep I don't know. That's the only thing I can do is just hope that angels help, because I actually do that. I call angels.
Did you ever see any symbols?
Yeah, lady, those angels, a lot of those are demons. Okay? They're looking to hijack your avatar, no different than a fucking reptilian. Okay, you can call them in, ask for protection, but in exchange for that protection, they want your body. Trust me, I know.
Did you ever see any symbology or artifacts in Epstein's properties pertaining to dark magic?
Well, I saw the statue of Christ, Christ dead on the cross, like life size. I took a photo of it in New Mexico. There's definitely a lot more going on here, and
that Christ, life-size Christ, being sacrificed on the cross, the blood, human sacrifice. Demons come in, feed on the etheric energy of the blood, hormones, the pain, the torture. See, this is the same type of shit that they do to children. Christ is supposed to represent innocence, and that's what a child represents, innocence. So when you torture innocence, you get extreme fear, which releases these hormone release. And when they get the blood from a person being tortured, then they drink the blood, and that something in the tortured blood does something to keep the reptilian from shapeshifting.
I really wish I knew more, that I could tell people more, but I think we all have to find the pieces together. It's like many pieces to a puzzle. But what I'm sure of is that there is such a thing as possession and demons, and that these people were very, very evil. I very much believe in the rituals and the tunnels and all of that. Like I said, I wasn't actually taken in.
Yeah, that demon possession is real. We know this. But go ahead.
To the tunnels, but I do have the memory waking up, and it would make sense if they, to take people's eggs and create their own farm of children, and also just as concubines. It's a disgusting thing I saw today.
Okay, she's talking about how they abduct women, take their eggs, farm, create. See, this is what Disney is. Okay, Disney's take these young kids. A lot of these kids were genetically engineered from a farm, from an underground base. So you don't know if they're genetically engineered or not, because you're not sitting there. The majority of us don't know who was born from a woman's womb or who was born from a fucking test tube. So you can't really tell the difference. So but yeah, they farm eggs, man. They abduct women, take their eggs, and they create hybrid children, and they use them as sex slaves and torture victims and sacrifices and the whole nine, like she said.
A lot of these, they like to have like a young concubine. So if you take someone's egg and you raise a child and you make them think it's normal that they're there to have sex, the child knows nothing better than that, and it actually just makes me sick. I don't even want to talk about it. But it's much like Westworld.
Have you contemplated who's behind these black ops now that Jeffrey's gone and Maxwell's inside? Because Boyce said that Virginia had been under pressure from what Boyce described as Epstein collaborators. And are these people whose names have been protected, who he collaborated with, and they're scared they're going to come out into the open? So they're putting pressure on survivors so these names never can come out? Do you think that's what Boyce meant?
Yeah, very much so. Also, if they were selling eggs or anything, then no one will ever know who the perpetrators were. Because if they're buying people that never existed, then how, like Westworld. I was also taken to the governor of Bill Richardson, the governor of New Mexico's mansion, and he looked myself and Tila Davies up and down, and then him and Epstein went in and had a meeting with the vice president. And I smelt the same smell that I smelt when Clinton walks through the room by the hotel, like a smell of dead bodies and covered up with cleaning chemicals. I smelt it there again. So, maybe they were looking at us to buy eggs. I don't know. Because think about it. If people are sickos and they want kids to f*** around with, sorry to swear again here, but it makes me very angry. How better a way than to steal someone's eggs, make your own babies?
And that's exactly what they're doing. And Credo Mutwa is going to break that whole process down. And we're going to get into that. Okay, Credo Mutwa is about to break down this egg harvesting, sperm harvesting, hybridization human. How they create these humans underground, under the earth, in underground bases, underground tunnels. So Credo Mutwa is about to break this down.
Moyo had sent me to get a special herb which grows only on the foothills of those mountains. It was just an ordinary day like any other, just beautiful day like this one outside here. And I love the African wilderness. I'm at home in the bush, especially in the days when I was still in good health. I love the animals. I love their smell, and I love the smell of the vegetation. And I was looking for this herb when all of a sudden a bright blue mist fell all around me. It took me some time to react to the strange thing. It was a hot day, and all of a sudden the temperature around me dropped. It was as if I was on the slope of a very cold mountain, but it was a warm day. And then the next moment, I was in what appeared to be a metal-lined tunnel, a caving tunnel, and I was lying on what looked like a workbench, a very large workbench of some kind. An iron table which an engineer or somebody working with metal would use as for welding and cutting metal.
See, Credo Muwa got abducted. He was picking herbs on the foothills of a mountain. Next thing you know, this blue mist comes up. And next thing you know, he's in some room laying on some damn table. And he's going to break down, you know, what came out.
Upon. But this workbench was very brightly polished. And there I was lying there with my trousers missing and only my khaki shirt, when I saw again through what appeared to be like blue mist a number of moving objects, which at first I thought were dolls. And these objects were moving towards me. I noticed with mild surprise that they were very thin, short, human-like creatures with very, very large melon-shaped heads.
Okay, these melon-shaped head demonoids. Okay, those are the gray aliens. Okay, let's kind of get into that. There you go. The big melon-shaped head. Okay, he's going to break this down right here. This is what had abducted Credo Muwa. And he's going to break this down. But these are the motherfuckers that be harvesting the eggs of humans and creating these hybrids. You know, and they're the lackeys. These things right here are the lackeys or the slaves to the actual reptilians. Credo Muwa is going to break that down.
The creatures had no noses, like as human beings have. They had only small little holes on either side of where the nose would be, and their mouths were like knife cuts at the bottom of their faces. And these creatures were coming towards me. In color, they were gray like certain types of fish, and they wore silvery gray garments which reached up to their necks and up to their wrists. I couldn't see whether they were wearing boots or not at that time. And while I was looking at these creatures, I suddenly was aware that something was above me, standing there, and I looked up straight into the face of one of them, a much taller one than the others. And this creature was wearing a garment like a tight-fitting overall without any buttons or anything, which reached up to its neck, but its wrists were bare. I noticed that the creature had very long fingers. Its fingers had extra, and each of its fingers had an extra joint, and it ended in a claw, a black claw like that of a chicken or a certain kind of bird, and that its thumb was not here, but here in the middle of the hand. And this thing was standing above my head and looking down at me, and I was looking at its eyes, which were very strange indeed. It was as if it was wearing plastic goggles over its eyes. I could see its eyes inside these tinted goggles, and it had holes on either side here, but it had no nose as I have. Its jaws were very small, and its mouth was a slit with tiny little scale-like things where its lips should be. And the creature carried a horrible smell on it. I can't describe that smell. It was a metallic chemical smell which seemed to combine the smell you would smell when somebody is burning brass or copper, and a very ugly chemical smell these two smells combine.
Okay, these creatures have copper-based blood. These are the ancestors of the blue bloods. And hold on. Okay, these heads look a little different than the skinny bob gray, but you see the pharaohs of Kemet had those big bulb heads, and but these are different type of heads. These aren't the octopus heads, but these heads tie back to European DNA and copper-based blood. Got the heads of a jellyfish, octopus, and if you research the blood color of an octopus, it's a blue blood. Hence, your blue bloods, which is your royal families, okay, which are tied in with these reptilians. So you're kind of seeing how they genetically engineered modern humans from these creatures here, and you can see that the pharaohs were also tied in with that. So they tell you that Enki's the son of Anu, okay, and that's one of these reptilians, and I'm quite sure. Well, I don't know if he had a elongated head or not, but you had a lot of human beings that were like hybrids of the Anunnaki crossed in with a human mother, and then you get the cross offspring which had elongated heads, man. So we're gonna continue. Okay, Cradle Muwa is basically discussing his abduction by these pumpkin-headed greys, and we're gonna continue on.
And this creature was looking down at me. I was frightened, but I could not move. And the next thing I knew was a terrible pain on my left thigh. It was as if somebody had just stabbed me right to the bone. I screamed and I tried to jump away, but my body was inactive. I could not move. I was not tied to any chain. I was not chained to the top of this table. There was no belt tying me, but I could not move my body. And when I looked down at what was happening, I found that one of the shorter creatures had driven something very painful into my left thigh. And then, while I watched, horrified, the creature pulled out this thing, and I saw that it was like a pencil made of shining metal with what appeared to be a flexible cable at the back. And before I could do anything, my head was seized by the creature above me. It caught me on either side of the head like this. And then third creature drove something into my right nostril here. It was as if I had been shot. The pain was so terrible.
See, Cradle Muwa, what they did was they was drilling an implant into Cradle Muwa's brain. They ran a cable up his nose, past his blood-brain barrier, and started drilling up into his brain. And what they did was plant a implant into his brain, and that gets into Elon Musk and all his Neuralink. Klaus Schwab wants to implant motherfuckers because these motherfuckers are reptilians, man. Okay, Elon Musk is a reptilian, Klaus Schwab is a reptilian, and these are two reptilians battling for power and control over the earth, man. Okay, that's exactly what it is. Here we go.
That I screamed and screamed, blood filled my mouth, blood spattered out of the nostril, and the creature did not seem to care. I was stupefied. The pain was so intense, so terrible. And then, quietly, brutally, the creature pulled out the thing that it had stabbed me in the nose with. And blood flowed into my mouth, out of my nostril, and I was choking. And then the big creature coldly turned my head this way, so that blood came out of the mouth, and which gave me some kind of relief. And after what seemed like an eternity of pain, the creature brought something out of somewhere, which looked like an old-fashioned tea strainer in appearance, and it put this thing close to my nose. And then I seemed to drift away, and the pain subsided. You know, it was torture so intense that even now I can't describe it. And then something else happened. A fourth creature started rummaging between my legs, and it pulled out my organ of manhood and stuck something into.
And see, this creature right here pulled out Cradle's penis and stuck something up through his penis and is sucking the sperm out And see, this is where they start doing the hybridization of humans. This is how they hybridize humans. They take a woman's eggs and a man's sperm, and you know, they create hybrid humans out of this, and then the children that's being born out of this are hybridized, and they use them for sex rituals and human sacrifice and adrenochrome. It's like they're farming adrenochrome pretty much. Here we go.
That it was very strange, but I wasn't feeling any pain now. But I could feel the flexible cable moving inside me, right into my body. And then, I can't describe it. It was as if my seed was being sucked out by this small, bright, flexible cable. And then
so that they were sucking the sperm out of Cradle's body, man, using that flexible cable.
Creature just pulled it out. I screamed and I cried and I screamed, but I could not move. And then something happened which to this day still amazes me. After the creature had pulled out the flexible cable from my organ, the creature just stood there looking at my organ. And I was so terrified that I urinated and accidentally urinated against the chest of the creature. It jumped away as if I had shot it, and it stumbled backwards. But its face didn't show any expression. Its mouth didn't even open, but the way the creature reacted, trembling all over, it was as if I had really hurt it, but it was wearing this kind of garment. And after that, I was left alone, except for the big creature which stood to my right side this time, with his arms folded, looking down at me. And then, while I was looking at this creature, trying to appeal to it, no pain anymore, no pain, please, I was pleading. Pictures suddenly flooded my mind. Pictures of buildings sunk in a red.
Yeah, see, they put that implant in Cradle's head, and he started getting pictures of destruction. You know, all these pictures start flooding his mind, and they was sending those images to his mind through that implant. So, you know, they got him. Here we go.
A red lake of water. Buildings rotting away. Buildings that appeared as if they had been bombed. And cities sunk in terrible mud. Trees sticking out like rotten ghosts. Trees without leaves, without branches, sticking out of the mud as if they had been poisoned. I saw visions of this. And then, through an entrance which I had not seen before, came a strange and terrible being. It was exactly like this. It was tall, made entirely of metal, with burning eyes and a snout. It didn't do anything. It just moved and came to stand at my left side. It didn't touch me or anything like that. It just stood there, making a strange humming sound. Wow, 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 like that. And then, from behind this metal creature, there appeared another creature. It was so radically different from the great creatures in that it looked exactly like an earthly human being. It had a pink...
Here it is right there. Okay, it looked like an earthly human being. It looked like a white woman, and this is what they created. It had a tail and some ears. Hold on.
Skin like that of a white woman. It had golden hair, and its ears were definitely pointed like those of an animal. Its eyes were slightly slanting. They were pale blue, and never once did they blink. It was like this, nude, and there was a tail-like appendage at its back, which was very visible as it walked away after it had done to me what it did.
Okay, it had a tail, pointy ears. So this is one of the hybrid females that was being created underground. And these Jeffrey Epstein victims are undoubtedly hybrid humans. And they were humanized, back-crossed, where the tail and the ears, it start to look more human as you back-cross it with more human DNA, which is why they were still in, like, why they abduct black Africans who were the original humans. They have to back-cross the hybrids with African DNA. Then, of course, I'm sure they know how to do gene manipulation, where they alter the OCA2 gene and take the melanin, out of the back-crossed human, and produce basically white people. And this is how Yahweh created the white race 6,000 years ago. And as you can see, it's the gray aliens, producing and creating these white women with the tails, okay? Which tells you these white women were created in those underground labs, which tells you Yahweh, God of the Old Testament, is the one that created these women. And that tells you that Yahweh is a what? A reptilian. Okay? It's a reptilian. Now, is it, because Cradle Muwa said the reptilians are our brothers. See, I'm looking at, you had humans come from Sirius. That's the black man, black woman. Then you had humans created from the energy of Set. And you had humans created from the energy of Osiris. So Osiris is the one that impregnated Isis through immaculate conception, which is basically genetic engineering, which is basically hybridization through light, using light waves. As I broke down in the previous video discussing the biotron by that Russian scientist, the Asian Russian scientist. But yeah, these hybrids were created right there underground, these underground laboratories, and this is basically the creation of the white race, creation of the Asian, creation of the East Indian, Aboriginal, the Homo erectus, Sasquatch, Neanderthal. They're all created in these underground labs, man. So this is where they come from. Here we go.
What this thing did, it climbed over me and made love to me. And I noticed that.
Yeah, so that hybrid woman made love with Cradle Muwa, and this is what they were doing when they harvesting the sperm and eggs of human beings, man. They create these hybrid humans. Like what Cradle Muwa is describing right here with this dog with the pointy ears and the tail. It looks like a white woman, had red hair. So this is where the hybridization program that Epstein victim, the lady, was describing, where they take the eggs from humans, make their hybrid children, and then use them for pedophilia, use them for human sacrifice, use them for torture and drinking the blood. So, they're basically harvesting humans underground, man. So there it is right there. Cradle Muwa broke it down. That said, we shall continue. Okay, so now we're back into Trump and why he's covering up this Epstein list, protecting all these people that's trafficking children, pedophiling on children, raping children, torturing children, humans sacrificing children, because our government is controlled by these reptilians and they need blood to keep from shape-shifting. And we got one of the Epstein victims, and we're going to get her testimony.
As Tucker Carlson recently said, maybe we really are in a spiritual war.
That we are being acted on by spiritual forces that we cannot see, that there is a war going on all around us, out of our sight, not perceived by our senses most of the time, between good and evil.
What do you mean by the things that you had to unpack that happened to you? Explain, just give me some idea of what that is.
Well, you know, like when I was taken there the first time, I saw him literally turn into something else in front of my eyes. Like he shapeshifted in the bedroom. It was freaky. And, you know, I can understand a lot of people would think, okay, this girl's a bit bonkers, or she was on drugs, but I wasn't on drugs and I'm not bonkers. You know, I saw this and I only saw it once. It was, 22 years ago. He suddenly turned into like a sort of dragon alien creature with huge black eyes. And it was and when I was taken in the bedroom with him that this happened, and David Icke speaks about all this stuff. That's actually how I first spoke about it publicly, because, I did an interview.
Okay, if you look at her face, study this woman, man. If you look at her face, okay, she looked like one of those hybrid women that Cradle Muwa was describing. They had to tell, red hair, pointy ears or whatnot. If you look at her face, she looked like a hybrid human. So she might be one of these human beings that was farmed underground. Hold on there. She like one of these human beings that might have been farmed underground, who's comes from eggs that were harvested. She's probably one of these harvested humans, harvested from the eggs and was genetically engineered and was, she's probably been implanted. So the Mossad, CIA, FBI, they can track her no matter where she goes on the planet. They know where she's at, what she does, probably can read her mind. She can't hide from them. She probably got that implant up in her. And, she's one of these hybridized humans that was used for like sex slavery, sex trafficking. So, she probably, she probably got off the reservation and is no longer controlled by these reptilians. But we're going to kind of get into her testimony.
It's Richard Willett from Iconic, and he's a great guy. He's almost like Sherlock Holmes. He's, he does a lot of research, and he asked me the leading questions, about the book I wrote. Why is it called The Dragon, the Apple, and the Butterfly? And then I had to tell him because I saw Epstein turn into something. It only happened once, but it's such a vivid thing in my mind because it just, it was very frightening. His head just went really big, and then he had these big black eyes, and it was almost like an alien, like devil-looking sort of thing with like horns, and it just I got, that's another reason why I was, of course, petrified.
Sure, of course. Listen, we've got lots of people who are extremely suspicious about the way that he is supposed to have died. Nobody really knows. There are still reports that he may have escaped, he may have got out, he may still be alive. What did you feel when you heard the news that he had died? And what do you think around, all of these suspicious circumstances that have to do with his death?
Well, I just couldn't almost believe it when he died, because I thought that he sort of ran the world, and I couldn't believe that, it was just like quite a shock. And also with regards to seeing the shape-shifting, I just wanted to bring up also that, Kathy O'Brien has spoken about this, because she was a MK Ultra sex slave apparently within the Bush administration, and also Jeanette Archer is another person who's spoken about shape-shifting.
Yeah.
Also, how The Simpsons predicts things. The Simpsons also, there's one where they go and they pull the mask off the president's heads and they're suddenly reptiles. There's a lot of weird stuff around all of that.
Yeah.
But sorry, what was the other question?
No, so
sorry,
his death. Did you find all of that suspicious?
Yeah, well, it was just, it was just very, very, just what was going on. It was just very weird, and also in New Mexico, I saw like a UFO in the sky there, and that's where Michael Bay was there at the same time. And then I also have a memory where I woke up in a lab, paralyzed on a table, naked. people were like, 6 people in hazmat suits standing around me and a doctor sort of, and then she said, don't worry, everything's okay, and I was out again. I've never had anesthetic as far as I know, so I don't really know how that works, but a friend of mine said that with anesthetic you can have weird sort of.
Okay, she said she was sitting on the table naked. So yep, there's no question in my mind she's a hybrid human. And them Greys, reptilians got access to her. She's a sex slave. I mean, she was created. Her eggs are being harvested, and she was created from one of the harvested eggs. And she's used as a sex slave, man. And this is what Trump, who has been body snatched, and I think Marina Abramovic is probably the one that body snatched Trump, man. Probably did some kind of spirit cooking. Can I get into that? Okay, this woman right here is Marina Abramovic.
One of the most important figures currently in the art world. She recently did a talk in Belgrade, the city of her birth, where she'd not had an exhibition since she was a student, and did a talk for 6,500 people. So the intimacy of 272, but the thousands who are joining us for live streaming will make her feel very much at home.
Okay, see this right here is Marina Abramovic, the Rothschild Foundation lecture. So she's at the Rothschild Foundation lecture. Rothschild, once again, Illuminati, tied in with these fucking reptilians. And I think this woman right here is the one that, was headed to spirit cooking, probably laced his food, did some spirit cooking, and got that demon on Trump. But I mean, I'm just speculating. I really don't know. I mean, there's a myriad of ways they could have hijacked the Trump that we body snatched, hijacked him and replaced him with a clone attached with a reptilian demonoid. It's all kinds of ways they can program these clones, man. But these clones can't be body snatched. But like some spirits are easier to evict than others. Them reptilian demonoids are pretty hard to evict, man. But here we go.
She, as Christopher said, was made an honorary Royal Academy in 2011. What he didn't say was that she has even more medals than he does. She's been honoured by 15 countries to date and counting. She was really the first of the pioneering generation of performance artists who were accepted, embraced by, and allowed to subvert the institutional museum world. And since then, she's shown in almost every major institution around the world. But next year, she becomes the first living female artist to take on the main galleries at the Royal Academy. And in a way, that's the distant frame that we're looking forward to that will inform this talk. What she's going to talk about is many things, but actually the past, the present, and the future for performance art in general and her art in particular. She was told that timing was critical tonight, and she's brilliant.
Okay, I'm gonna skip past this, man. This dude talking too goddamn much. Hold on, let me get to this woman, man. There she goes, right there. This little wicked witch. Let's hear what she got to say.
I could say the performance art is a mental and physical construction that you made in specific time and space in the front of audience, and then energy dialogue will happen.
So you look at her face, she like a reptilian. That's a fucking reptilian, man. What the fuck? Look at that face, man. Hold on.
So in performance, knife is real knife and blood is real blood. So you're not, oh, hello. Nice seeing friends here, so nice. So I will start immediately because really not much time.
And we're gonna get into her doing her little spirit cooking. There's this little psychopath spirit cooking. She's using blood to write out this spell, man. Let's get into that, man. With a sharp knife, deeply with a sharp knife deeply into the middle finger of your left hand. Eat the pain. Okay, so left hand would be counterclockwise to clockwise. So she's moving electricity. Okay? Eat the pain. Okay, I'm not going to get too much into this. If you want to look up Marina Brown, I went over this on other videos, but I think this is the woman that they used to lace Trump's food and attach this reptilian demon on his ass. So, you know, I'm just speculating. But like I said, they could have also replaced him with a clone. You know, had him taken out and had him replaced. So there's a myriad of ways where they could have got to Trump, but Trump is definitely shape-shifting, man. So that said, this is Dr. Ra. Hope this video was informative. Okay, we are being hijacked. Our planet has been hijacked. It has been hijacked for thousands of years. And now it's time to take control of our planet back. Okay, information is key, knowledge is key, know-how is key, and being aware of what the fuck you're dealing with is key. So I hope this video educates you. So now we're gonna move on to alchemy. We're gonna move on to, you know, I got these devices I want to build using capacitors and induction coils connected to crystal cell batteries, and these batteries run forever, so I can keep that frequency pulsing through that coil. And these are like little traps, pulse traps, high frequency traps. You can just put these all over the place, man. They'll run non-stop. You can bury them in the ground, whatever the case is. So if any kind of demonic entity comes in that field, you know, it's kind of like zapping it, man. We can zap it out of existence, man. But you know, I gotta show you how to make these induction coils with a capacitor, with crystal cell batteries, man. You know, there's a few other things. Might have to use a dial or whatever the case is, man. But you know, if I can manufacture these things at a cheap enough price, you know what I'm saying, I might be able to get these things out for free. But that's to be discussed in the future. That said, this is Dr. Ra. God bless all you gods and goddesses. Peace.